Ogtv Comprehensive News. I am Tunji Akintayo. Thanks for joining us. On the news, Ogun State Government seeks amendment to State Parks and Garages Development Agency law. Federal government puts in place measures to prevent food crisis amid COVID-19 pandemic. Oil sector deregulation is expected to bring in 1 trillion naira to federal government annually. Fire erupts in Beirut port area months after explosion. Smile at the obstacle, for it is a bridge.
And on sports news tonight, CAF Morocco to host 2021 CAF election. These and other sports stories when I return on the sports segment of the news. My name is Biodan Labi.
Now the news in full. Ogun State House of Assembly during its plenary acknowledged the correspondence from the state governor, Prince Dakwa Abiodun, proposing an amendment to the State Parks and Garages Development Agency Bill. The Speaker, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, who read the governor's letter dated 2nd September 2020 at the plenary, charged the proposed amendment to the House Committee on Transportation for further legislative actions. Kolawole Osho, our correspondent's report is presented in this package.
Speaker, Ogun State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, acknowledged the governor's correspondence seeking the amendment of the State Parks and Garages Development Agency Bill.
Kindly refer to my letter dated 17th August 2020 on the transition of the bill to amend the State Parks and Garages Development Law and not subsequent correspondence on the course of the matter. Upon further reflection and after exhaustive consultation with relevant stakeholders, I would like to request the following modification to paragraph E of section 3.2 of the bill under composition of the agency.
Also at the plenary, a member representing Abeokuta North State Constituency, Honorable Modupe Mujota, presented a petition on the floor of the House on behalf of residents of Ipaya Akitunde communities in Idiemi on the need for the reconstruction of the 2 access bridges linking the communities which were washed away recently by flood. Responding, Uluomo directed the petition to the committees on works and infrastructure as well as environment to examine the petitions with a view to addressing all issues raised by concerned residents. In another development, the State House of Assembly played host to the national executive members of the Tricycle Owners Association of Nigeria, led by its national president, Comrade Augustine Agbo Ape, with a task on them to engage the State Ministry of Transportation on how to carry out their operation in the state. Speaker Uluomo, who reiterated that the state remained open to synergy and working relationship with law-abiding unions and associations in all sectors of the economy, pointed out that the state already had 2 tricycle unions in operations.
I want to know that we are friendly to people, we are hospitable, we love peace and we love progress. And we always want to associate ourselves with people that make development. But then the laws will be fulfilled, it has to be followed. So on that note, I will refer you back to the Ministry of Transportation, probably through my Shaman's Computer Transport, to now resolve your matter with them. We already have 2 unions working on tricycle in the state. We have Torah and we have Tura. If we are bringing in the 3rd one, and we're already having one in the making, I think all we need to do is for all of us to work together.
In his remarks, Comrade Augustine Agbo Ape noted that the visit was to partner with the Assembly with a view to adding more value to tricycle operations and its management in the state, assuring that the union was ready to work together with related unions in the state.
The recently submitted report by the Contract and Project Review Committee was a thorough and painstaking job with documents and facts to prove. The chairman of the committee, Engineer Adekunle Mokolu, made this submission in an interview with our governor's office correspondent, Tunde Olaniran, on the procedure for arriving at the report.
Can be for so many reasons. We did not go into the reasons for why this amount was not paid. We only saw certificates from the projects authenticated by the ministries, departments and agencies. And we also confirmed from the contractors that this is the case. So that was just what happened. So it was just based on facts that we proved. And we also called the Accountant General of the state to look at the profiles of payments on these contracts, and he confirmed same. So that's just the something. So we know that we established how much has been paid to the contractor, we established the quantity of work done, and then the rest is arithmetic. So
he noted that the support given to the committee by the governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, made the challenges of the committee surmountable.
All the sites, all the projects, the 114 projects were visited. So we had sometimes bad roads, some places our vehicle had to broke down and so on, but the government was able to give us security and so on, and then all the other logistics that we needed. Then where we had issues were also in the issue of documentation. You know, we didn't get them, you know, quickly, and that was the reason why we had to now apply for extension of time to be able to do the job, because facts must first be proven before you now can say it's fact.
The committee had the mandate of looking into the projects awarded between years 2009 to 2019 and recommend viable pathways for the completion of the projects. Towards achieving accountability, transparency, and optimization in revenue collected, the State Ministry of Finance, in conjunction with Integrated Consultancy Management Accounting Professional Services, has trained officers of the Bureau of Lands and Survey on the Central Billing and Pay Value System. Speaking at the training held at the conference room of the Bureau of Lands and Survey, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Mr. Azan Adekunle, said that the training was organized to acquaint revenue officers on modern technology of harmonizing revenue collection from revenue-generating agencies. Represented by the Director of Administration and Supply, Mr. Taiwo Adebiyi, Adekunle explained that the pay value was an electronic billing application designed for one-off demand bills of ministries, departments, and agencies, saying the new method will solve problems associated with revenue leakages by ensuring that all bills are electronically computed and payments are made according to the bills. He emphasized that the new pay value methods was a win-win for government and the taxpayers as it interfaces with the payment system to eradicate multiple usage data of a single payment while keeping full records of such transactions as well as centralized data for easy backup and reduce business costs. In his contribution, the Director of Land Services in the Bureau, Mr. Fatai Adeboyejo, stressed that the pay value will go a long way at interfacing with the payment system so as to eradicate multiple taxation as well as keep full records of every transaction. In his own comments, the resource person, Mr. Adebayo Ishola, said the central billing system and pay value was conceptualized with the goal of maximizing revenue generation for the MDAs and centralized revenue heads, as well as boosting the internally generated revenue IGR of the state. Adebayo noted that there were two categories of participants involved in the process, comprising the initiator, who assessed the applicant, and the validator, who gives approval on what had been assessed, noting that the new development would make payment easy for taxpayers. Health sector at all levels in Ogun State is a critical sector to the Prince Dapo Abiodun-led government. Hence, the importance for health institutions across the state to be equipped with the necessary modern facilities for ease of accreditation. The special advisor to the governor on technical education, Professor Joseph Odemuyiwa, made this remark during a pre-NBTE accreditation facility inspection visit to the Ogun State College of Health Technology, Ilese, Ijebu-Ode. Professor Odemuyiwa emphasized that the health college was important to the present administration in the state for its peculiarity as a specialized middle-level health management staff training monotechnic. He recommended the expertise displayed by the graduates of the school during the period of COVID-19 pandemic, adding that it is not just a college, but a special institution that attends to humanity and thus saving lives. The special advisor noted that institutions which one of those under the purview of the National Board for Technical Education should also make use of the various modern equipment to generate revenue to sustain the institution and its programs. In its welcome address, the Provost, Ogun State College of Health Technology, Dr. Abiodun Oladunjoye, appreciated the state for giving rapid attention to the health sector and meeting with their needs while promising that they would be ready to render healthcare services delivery to Ogun citizenry. As part of the efforts towards creating conducive and enabling environment for teaching and learning in the state, the Ogun State government has commissioned some projects at the Ebenezer Grammar School in Abeokuta. Flagging off the projects, the special advisor to the state governor on primary and secondary education, Mrs. Ronke Shoyombo, who expressed gratitude to the donors of the project, described education as both necessity and investment which must be embraced by all and sundry with the seriousness it deserves. Shoyombo submitted that the desire of the Prince Dakwa Abiodun-led administration is to create an enabling environment for learning and capacity building where students and teachers would be happy to work and learn, adding that the renovated classrooms would not only uplift the school, but also make it compete with first-choice schools in the state.
Global world of information technology, education is both a necessity and an investment, which everybody must embrace within the seriousness that it deserves. The era when education was acquired in crowded and stressful classes is been a thing of the past, as the state government has taken a firm stand in ensuring that its policy on education as top priority is fulfilled with the provision of basic infrastructure. Before we finish the first year in office, you will see that we were able to actually build and to renovate 95 schools.
Also speaking, the principals of both senior and junior schools, Mrs. Abosede Babalola and Mrs. Fumilayo Shobiye, respectively, thanked the current administration in the state for granting the approval of the project, saying Ogun Digital Classroom organized by the government during the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown was a proactive initiative that is worthy of commendation. Speaking on behalf of the donors, Mr. Abayomi Fuja said that the projects were a way of giving back to the community, appealing to well-to-do in the society to always join hands with government in order to move the education sector forward. You're watching Ogtv News. Still to come, federal government puts in place measures to prevent food crisis amid COVID-19 pandemic. More news and reports after this break. You're welcome back. A crucial meeting of the National Food Security Council has been convened. President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the chairman of the council, is presiding over the meeting in the Executive Council chambers of the State House. The meeting is to, among others, receive an update on presidential directive initiative aimed at protecting and further enhancing food security in the country. Presentations are also to be made on the 2020 and dry season's economic sustainability support, as well as agricultural development initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria. In an opening remark before the meeting went into a closed session, Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, described the meeting as imperative in views of the negative impact of flooding, insecurity of COVID-19 on efforts at achieving food sufficiency in the country.
With Mr. President being among us, as somebody who knows about farming and agriculture, we believe that his presence is very instructive in addressing not just this hike and transient nature of the cost of and the prices of foodstuff, but also to underscore the importance that he personally, as Mr. President, and the administration attaches to the issue of national food security. My office as the Secretariat of the National Food Security Council met with all agricultural commodity associations to ascertain the root causes of the recent spike in food prices and craft mitigating strategies to what could be a potential crisis. Although various concerns were raised on the increase in the commodity costs, we have been informed that prices are actually currently on the decline as new grains have been introduced to the market. For example, new maize, which was previously sold at 25,000 naira per bag, is now being sold between 12,000 and 17,000 naira, and is expected to fall to between 7,000 and 8,000 naira per bag by November.
The federal government has approved additional 8.9 billion naira to pay off the large chunk of the June 2020 COVID-19 allowance to all medical health workers in the country. Senator Chris Ngige, Minister of Labor and Employment, disclosed this during the signing of a memorandum of understanding at the end of the meeting between the federal government and the National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, on Wednesday in Abuja. It will be recalled that NARD had embarked on a total and an indefinite strike in all federal and state hospitals in the country to press for their demands. The National Association of Resident Doctors demands include payment of the medical residency training funding to all members as approved in the revised 2020 budget, provision of genuine group life insurance and death in service benefits for all health workers. Others are payment of outstanding April and May and June COVID-19 inducement allowance, determination of revised hazard allowance for all health workers as agreed in previous meetings with relevant stakeholders, immediate payment of salary shortfall of 2014, 2015, and 2016, among others. Ngige said that the implementation of the payment of the special hazard and inducement allowance has been concluded. According to him, the meeting was satisfied that the 20 billion naira already appropriated in 2020 COVID-19 budget has been exhausted. He said the meeting therefore commended the federal government and Mr. President for approving additional 8.9 billion naira to pay up the large chunk of the June 2020 COVID-19 allowance to all medical health workers. The Senate Committee on Constitutional Review has bowed to pressures from Nigerians by extending the deadline for memorandum submission to September 18. The panel had given Nigerians 2 weeks, which ended on Wednesday, to send in their input for consideration in its proposed review of the 1999 Constitution. This is just as Omagege on Wednesday called on the various interest groups agitating for state creation to reach out to other geopolitical zones and their lawmakers. Meanwhile, 18 additional memoranda were submitted in addition to the 50 others earlier collected by the committee, making the total number 68. Notable among the memoranda were those from the Christian Association of Nigeria, the Movement for the Creation of Zuma State out of Niger State, Movement for the Creation of Savannah State out of Gombe, Taraba and Adamawa states. Others are from Yaga Africa, Okun Development Association, Benue State Government, Concerned Nurses Association of Nigeria, Yoruba Progressive Union, and Zonta International, among others. Total and proper deregulation of the downstream and upstream sectors of the oil ministry is the way to go if a lasting solution is to be found to the problem of instability in the oil and gas sector. The duo of oil and gas experts, Engineer Tajuddin Olori and a public commentator, Kwazim Chanusi, made this assertion while discussing the petrol and electricity tariff hike on an Ogtv political discussion program, Democratic Path. Engineer Olori said the nation must find a way of making the existing refineries work at the optimal capacity and allow private investors come in to effectively run the refineries.
The problem we have in Nigeria is that we have the handle, but we're not using it. We have these 4 refineries. For how long have we been holding on to 4 refineries? We have not built a new one.
No expansion.
We said we are going to license or modular refineries. Some have started working, but very, very minimal. Because the major ones, we keep deceiving ourselves. So if we say that, okay, we shut it down, we want it to go through turnaround. How many turnarounds have we had?
Shanusi, while speaking on the increase in electricity tariff, states that government needs to do more to ensure more houses are provided with prepaid meters so that people would only pay for what they consume.
Removal of subsidy to regulation to any well-thinking person who is informed is welcome. Yeah. Is a good way to go, yes. But I think one thing has been recurring here. Where is that will to see it through properly? Okay, this particular administration has argued that whatever savings they are making from this regulation now goes into the economic sustainability plan, just like it was in the past too.
They called for improved service and more electricity supply, as the current service being rendered to Nigerians does not justify the tariff increase. The Marketing Enterprise Development Advisor from the National Office of the Value Chain Development Program, VCDP, Ajia Fatima Mukhtar Buhari, in company of the Ogun State Commissioner for Agriculture, Dr. Adeola Odedino, have commenced inspection of some cassava and rice production and processing farms in Ogun State. The team visited the Agbeleri Ebara Cassava Processing Center at a village, as well as some privately owned cassava processing centers in Erede and Ajura communities in Obafemi Owode local government area, promising federal government's resolve to assist the program to further benefit smallholder farmers in the state. Ajia Buhari appreciated the state government for providing enabling environment for the implementation of the value chain development programs.
We're sorry about the challenges that we had already. But there is an almighty God trying to look into it.
The Commissioner for Agriculture, Dr. Adeola Odedino, described Youth Rice Farmers Group in the area as youth itemized the potential in the rice value chain. He promised the commitment of the state government to market as well as off-takers.
The other role is performing in mentoring the youth from the local government for professional opportunities. The Food Brothers Farmers Group in Odeogonu, they are doing well. They've cultivated these 40 hectares of rice, and according to him, one of their farms and one of their clusters. And his father field and with potential high yield. The youth group are also working with one of the off-takers in the state. They are harvesting and they are selling. And this is very important for the rice program, rice agenda of the state, and the rice agenda of southwestern Nigeria, and the rice agenda of the country. Presently, Ogun State is the highest producer of rice in southwest.
The state program coordinator said the farmers had imbibed modern agricultural practices. International Federation of Training and Development Organizations Committee for Women Empowerment, in its mission to ensure equal opportunities for women and network, has called for support of key stakeholders to correct gender imbalance in the society. This was one of the cogent issues raised as the Commissioner for Industry, Trade and Investment, Kikelomo Olunge, received the Committee for Women Empowerment in her office, Okemosan, Abeokuta. Shemilo Remakanju has the details.
Guaranteeing the rights of women and giving opportunities to reach their full potential are critical factors for attaining gender equality. More importantly, meeting a wide range of international development goals, especially the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. This, however, propelled the Committee for Women Empowerment, led by Janet Jalaosho, in a quest for gender equality, youth and women empowerment.
The vision of the committee is that Committee for Women Empowerment is to provide a unique and dynamic platform for women empowerment as well as gender equality. If the women could come together, have a platform where they can bear their minds, speak out, support, network, nothing stops us from taking our prestigious positions as president and governors of this country.
Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Olu Ola Aikulola, reiterates that women are more committed to their enterprise.
Taking time to listen to all the various interventions we are planning, not only about women, but also about upcoming youths that are girls. Of course, we realize that a lot of untoward things are now happening in the entire society, and most often than not, women and girls are the vulnerable ones. And there are valid examples of the fact that women are more committed to their enterprise. If you want something to be good, better done, and be enduring, give it to a woman.
Commissioner for Industry, Trade and Investment in Ogun State, Kikelomo Olunge, reiterates that government is committed to guaranteeing the rights of women and giving them opportunities to reach their potentials with various schemes.
The current administration under His Excellency Prince Dr. Dakwabe Boniface has been initiating various programs that are geared towards supporting these MSMEs. These programs have been creating opportunities for making better life for the women in Ogun State. I would like us to note that all our women programs are social, economic, gender, and community-based.
The Commissioner commends the women group for its role in reducing the gap in access to opportunities and economic independence.
As part of the effort to support women-operated businesses to thrive in Ogun State, a 1 billion naira MSME matching fund scheme was set up in partnership with the Bank of Industry.
The Committee for Women Empowerment is saddled with the responsibility of addressing issues affecting women, seeking solutions, focusing on gender equality in order to provide a unique and dynamic global platform for women. Shemilore Makoju, Ogtv News.
Niger State government on Thursday announced the sacking of 80 civil servants across various cadres for alleged salary scam running into millions of naira. The dismissed civil servants are drawn from various ministries, departments, and agencies of the state government. They were allegedly found culpable in the ongoing salary verification exercise by the state government. Governor Abubakar Bello approved the sacking of the workers at the State Executive Council meeting in Minna on Wednesday. Niger State Head of Service Ajia Salamatu Abubakar noted that all the affected workers will soon get their dismissal letters. According to her, all the indicted civil servants made confessional statements before the State Salary Audit Committee and their respective ministries, departments, and agencies on their roles of adding ghost names to the state payroll to paying themselves salaries and allowances they were not qualified for. He added there was an instance where a messenger in the state judicial service was found to be collecting the salary of a high court judge. It was as bad as that. There was a mild drama at the entrance of the Ondo State House of Assembly as two members of the opposition in the assembly were prevented from entering into the house by the security men at the gate. The drama was revealed in a 1-minute 30-second video that had gone viral. The affected lawmakers, Mr. Festus Akingbatro and Rashid Elegbeleye, who are representing Akoko Northeast constituency and Idori constituency respectively, are members of the People's Democratic Party in the assembly. In the video, two lawmakers were seen protesting against the action of the policemen at the gate. The security guard told the lawmakers that the order to lock the gate came from the speaker, Mr. Bamidele Logu. But one of the lawmakers put a call through to the speaker, informing him about what happened at the gate, yet the gate was not opened for them. One of the aggrieved lawmakers, Elegbeleye, confirmed the video and said it was the deliberate act to shut them out. The People's Democratic Party in Ogun State has expressed its commitment to democracy and good of all members in the state. This was contained in a communique issued at the end of the meeting of chairmen of the party in Southwest in Abeokuta. The party said each state has its own leaders as politics in local and the leadership structure must be respected by all members. The communique noted that it has been established and the decision taken that the existing zoning formula in the zone for the zonal executive of the party should not be tampered with. According to the communique, only free, fair, transparent, and non-violent Congress is what is acceptable to the Southwest organ of the party and ready to comply with all legitimate processes to determine the outcome of the zonal Congress. The need to give peace a chance and allow Southwest take its rightful position in the PDP was also reiterated. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Muhammad, on Thursday warned judges appointed to preside over election tribunals for the next set of elections in Ondo, Edo, and other states to avoid falling for temptations in the course of their duties. Justice Muhammad said he would not condone any act of recklessness among the judges because their selection is a rare opportunity to serve their fatherland. The CJN spoke in Abuja while inaugurating 85 judges appointed for the upcoming elections in Edo and other states. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has fixed September 14 for the hearing in the appeal filed by the Bayelsa State Governor, Jiri Doye. The Bayelsa State Governor is challenging the judgment of the State Governorship Election Tribunal, which nullified his election on 12 grounds. At the hearing on Thursday, some factional members of the Advanced Nigeria Democratic Party, ANDP, brought an application to be joined as parties in the appeal. Counsel to the ANDP, Kehinde Ogunwumiju, informed the court that a notice of preliminary objection, which is challenging the competence of the application, has been filed. Justice Stephen Ada, who is the head of the 3-man panel hearing the appeal, ruled that at the next date, parties will be allowed to respond to the application filed by the factional members of the ANDP. The court also awarded a 200,000 naira against the People's Democratic Party for the inconveniences it has caused the ANDP over the PDP's withdrawal of a brief of argument it filed on September 3 on the grounds that a new brief of argument had been filed. The Advanced Nigeria Democratic Party, ANDP, in its petition challenging the victory of Governor Jiri in the November 19 governorship election, claimed that the party was lawfully excluded for an election. In a 2-1 The three-man panel ruled that the INEC does not have the power to disqualify any candidate for an election. Justice Yunusa Musa, who delivered the lead judgment in his response, said that INEC has no power to disqualify any candidate and insists that the petition of the ANDP stands. Body of Senior Advocates of Nigeria, BOSAN, has set up a 5-man committee to work with the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, in the review of the 2019, 2018, and 2020 elections, which have been subject of controversy because of the electronic process. The BOSAN Election Audit Committee comprises Joe Gadzama, SAN, Chief Yomi Aliu, SAN, Professor Ofod Muchuazi, SAN, and Ebuolu Adegboruwa, SAN. The body, meanwhile, commended Mr. Dele Adeshino, SAN, one of the candidates in the just concluded national election of the NBA, on his decision not to contest the result of the election in court. The BOSAN communique by Chief Olake Sholanke, SAN, and the Secretary Sheyi Showemimo has put a stop to insinuations that the body set up a parallel committee to the one set up by the NBA. Lawyers in this edition of Law and Human Rights react to the decision by BOSAN, which set up a committee to review the NBA elections. Migration is a multidimensional phenomenon which deals with economic, social, and political factors and can be either internal or international. Considering the implications of population movements for places of origin and destination, migration has garnered several opinions as some migrants embrace crime and endanger the development of a nation. In this special report, Moyioluwa Ajayi examines the effect of migration on crime rates in Nigeria. Our report is presented from our studio.
As the most populous country in Africa, with an estimated population of over 130 million, Nigeria plays a key role in the evolution of African migration. For the human capital theory, migration occurs as a result of the individual's attempt to maximize their lifetime income by relocating to a new place.
Migration is simply the permanent or temporary movement of people from one country to another. So it's a permanent change or temporary change of residence by an individual or group of people. It can be forced and it can be voluntary.
The impact of migration on the country travel to is that it boosts the economy of that country due to its sufficiency in manpower.
Migration is important for the transfer of skills and manpower. It also provides the needed knowledge and innovation.
Terrorism has become a global trend, and according to respondents, immigrants, especially illegal immigrants, partake in terrorist activities, which may lead to increasing crime rates.
The impact of migration on crime rates has not been proven, but the reality is that the migration of people who are prone to crime tarnishes the image of their own country. So, in whatever case, the best analogy of this circumstance is that Nigerians in other countries have, to an extent, given Nigeria a very bad reputation abroad due to their involvement in various crimes and all other misappropriations.
Illegal migration in Nigeria is multifactorial and has serious negative consequences on Nigeria. Hence, the need to create public awareness.
The alienation between the people and the police has gone for so long, and we're trying to, reverse the order so that the people can take responsibility for the security in their own area. They will be able to contribute information and intelligence to the community police. The constabularies are going to be recruited from the community, and they are going to serve in their community, and so they stand a very good chance of knowing how to go about resolving communal conflicts and be able to, be proactive.
Migration cannot be stopped due to crime, but the best that can happen is a very strong security network which would yield better results in curbing crime entirely.
Respondents called on governments to sensitize the public and control crime so that people can see the possible constructive interactions between migration and developments.
The frequency of suicide missions has become a major concern to all stakeholders, which necessitated every 10th of September as World Suicide Prevention Day, with the aim of raising awareness and promoting worldwide action to prevent the menace. In this special report, Yusuf Ganiyu takes a look on the significance of the day is report.
The World Health Organization estimates that almost 800,000 people commit suicide every year. As Nigeria joins other countries in marking this year's World Suicide Prevention Day, no fewer than 246 suicide cases were recorded in the country within the last 4 years.
Suicide is the act of intentionally causing one's own death, that is, taking one's life. And there are many factors to that one. It can be caused by the depression, the bipolar disorder, autism, and what they call mental disorder or psychological emotional disorder. There are many factors responsible for that.
Fear of stigmatization, that a thing got impregnated and you think the next thing for you to do is to commit suicide, or fear of not being able to make up with the debt you are owing someone. So it shouldn't be an option. No matter what in life, no matter what the problem is, there will definitely be a solution, and that solution can never be suicide.
This year's theme is working together to prevent suicides, which is basically to ensure everyone stand up to the challenges of suicide as it affects socio-economic development of the country.
The reasons why there's increase is due to psychological reason and social reason. Look at a family, for example, whereby there is no love in that family, and maybe a child is being pushed aside, maybe due to one act or the other, or a place whereby a mother is being condemned unnecessarily. If such a person cannot manage and such act very well, it can lead to suicide.
While reflecting on the factors leading to committing suicide, it was emphasized that there is need to reduce stigma and promote mental health literacy among the general public and healthcare profession.
Creation of awareness, we need to continue to create awareness. Parents need to be more responsible to their children. You guide against the stigmatization, and more importantly, if you identify any health challenges or whatever mentally, consult psychiatric. It is not everyone that goes for psychiatric tests or consultation that are mad.
It is better you share part of your problems with people. Problems shared is half solved, if not fully solved. But the reality is that you will live to outlive those challenges you are facing. You that you felt you are not doing well today, you can be the best tomorrow. So why do you want to deprive yourself of your right to life?
Government at all levels were encouraged to develop suicide prevention strategies for all countries in order to stop the act for the growth of every nation. Yusuf Ganiyu, Ogtv News.
The African Development Bank's Board of Directors has approved $27.3 million in grants to boost the African Union's efforts to mobilize a continental response to curb the COVID-19 pandemic. The approval followed a meeting of the Extended Bureau of the Conference of Heads of State and Government with Africa's private sector on April 22, 2020, chaired by the President of South Africa of the AU and Chairperson of the AU, Cyril Ramaphosa, at which the bank's President, Akinwumi Adesina, pledged strong support for the AU's COVID-19 initiative. Speaking after the board approval of this operation, Dr. Adesina said the African Development Bank will strongly support Africa to get through the COVID-19 pandemic and build back strongly and smartly. He noted the bank's financial support to the Africa Center for Disease Control reaffirmed strong commitment to the regional efforts to tackle the pandemic being coordinated by the African Union. Dr. Adesina said Africa needs a well-financed Africa Center for Disease Control today and for the future. Gunmen on Thursday attacked residents of Tunga village, a community bordering the Federal Capital Territory and Niger State. The hoodlums, according to reports, stormed the village, shooting sporadically into the air and kidnapped some residents. The FCT police, in reaction, said they, however, responded to the attack promptly and engaged in a fierce gun duel with the hoodlums. 5 of the kidnapped victims were rescued by the police. The command, therefore, reassured members of the public of its commitment to deploy proactive crime-fighting measures to ensure the security of lives and property in the nation's capital. A 6-day activity to mark the 15-year anniversary of the Ijebu for the Diocese of Ijebu North Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion continue on Friday, September 11, 2020, with the consecration service of Right Reverend Solomon Kuponu as the diocesan bishop by 11 in the morning. On Wednesday, September 16, 2020, an anniversary crusade will hold between 4 and 6 in the evening. A statement jointly signed by the Chairman Anniversary Committee, Otuba Yobade Obajimi, and diocesan communicator, Venerable Olumuyiwaoke, indicates that a presentation and anniversary lecture will come up on Thursday, September 17, 2020, starting from 10 in the morning. On Friday, September 18, 2020, the anniversary fund launch as well as Women Forum will begin from 11 in the morning. The anniversary will be rounded off on Sunday, September 19, 2020, with a Thanksgiving service slated for 11 in the morning. Still to come in the business segment of the news, federal government to earn over 1 trillion naira annually from deregulation. More business news after this break. The business segment of the news, the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Mele Kyari, says the 4 oil refineries in the country have been shut down in Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna. He explained that all the 4 refineries were functioning below capacity and it had thus become necessary to stop them from operating altogether. The NNPC boss attributed this development to the challenge of delivering crude oil because the pipeline network has been completely compromised by vandals and all kinds of people that do not allow the full operation of the pipelines. He added that the turnaround maintenance had not been properly carried out to the refineries running at 60% capacity, but expected to run at 90% of its installed capacity. The federal government has explained its decision to fully remove subsidy from petrol, saying the country stands to rake in over 1 trillion naira annually, which will be deployed to fund other critical components of the economy. Minister of State Petroleum, Chief Timipre Silva, disclosed this in Abuja. He believes that this discussion around subsidy has been a vexed issue that has captured the imagination of the country for a long time now. Successive administrations have attempted to deregulate. He said some administrations lacked the political will, and at other times, the time was not good for it. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has said it spent a total of 41.98 billion naira on pipeline repairs and management costs in the first half of this year. The NNPC disclosed that product theft and vandalism have continued to destroy value and put NNPC at a disadvantaged position. A total of 1,067 vandalized points were recorded between June 2019 and June 2020, according to the corporation. He said a total of 33 pipeline points were vandalized in June 2020, representing about 11% decrease from 37 points recorded in May. That was the business segment of the news. Up next is foreign news with Yinka Shodunke. Welcome to the world today. A large blaze erupts again in Beirut port a month after an explosion that killed over 150 people. Also, Greek ships to help shelter 13,000 Mora migrants after fire outbreak. Let's now join Olayinka Shodunke for the details.
A huge fire